Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica Katanga, and I know I have been away for a while, but I shall be explaining all of that and more in today's video. And it was because I was really unwell with depressiones, and I'm going to be talking weirdly and posing and adding in humor, because how best do we deal with difficult emotions if not hiding behind a facade? But no, seriously, I'll be talking about my GP placement, why I couldn't get to the end of it, my current mental health, how my uni responded, what you can do, and some advice and things, and answering questions that you sent me on Instagram. So grab a cup of tea and let's get into it. So for my GP placement, I was in the leafy depths of Surrey. I had to book my own Airbnb, so that was really long and expensive, but I'm waiting for that to be refunded. And so yeah, I'll just talk about where I was, what the GP did, how it was COVID secure, what type of patients I saw. So for the first 2 weeks I was shadowing the GPs, and I would just watch them taking histories, but it was all over the phone, so it was, that bit was kind of boring, just like hearing them on the phone and stuff. But then in the last 3 weeks I had my own room and I could speak to my own patients, and so what we did was have telephone clinics in the morning, and anybody that we could just alleviate their concerns, like if they didn't need to come in, for example, 26-year-old woman with stinging when she's going to wee, she knows this is a UTI, we can just prescribe her antibiotics over the phone. She doesn't really need to come in. Who would have to come in is people who maybe they would need an examination if they've hurt their ankle or something and they want an x-ray. Well, especially if they're a child or any age, just radiation. So we had to do an examination before we refer someone. So they would come in the afternoon. And how it was COVID secure was basically everybody at the door, we would go to the front door, test them with a temperature gun for their temperature, make them sanitize, and everybody had to wear masks. And then we would usher them into the rooms, and we would discourage them from touching the handles themselves. So yeah, or even if it was like some people would just send in pictures of their problem, and then there are some people who did have a fever but not necessarily COVID. So this is the tent that we have for any patient that is got fever. They have to go into this tent outside. It's got an examination bed, chair, all the stuff here. I feel like I'm in a war zone. So I was in contraception clinics, so I saw coils, implants, gynae problems and things. I was giving flu jabs, and then just everyday things. There was a lot of increase in people's depression and anxiety because of COVID, because of lockdown, because of just 2020 in general. And then every week we'd have a tutorial with like the professor of general practice in our area, and he would just go into detail about common presentations like diabetes and like respiratory problems and things. And also he'd show us the stats on coronavirus, and that was right at the beginning of the second wave, so that was quite scary because we were literally seeing the peaks rising before like the news was showing it. So that was definitely anxiety inducing, and that kind of led into my, can we call it a breakdown or breaking point, let's just say, because that's a little bit less cheesy. Basically I have only took my mental health seriously this year because it's affected my productivity. Capitalism. And yeah, I'm not proud of that, but whatever, fine. I actually went to medical professionals this year. I've always struggled with low mood. That's for another video, or for another time. And then I just had enough. Reached a very low point. This is extremely uncomfortable for me to be talking about, but whatever, we have to break taboos and stuff. And I messaged the heads of my year to say that I'm struggling, and it's just like I'm just coming home every night crying, you know, thinking dark things, blah de blah. And they were really like proactive. They were really appreciated my honesty. They said that was the right thing to do, to reach out. And they said that you don't need to go in anymore if you don't want to, but I just went on that last day just to say bye to my supervisor and things. He said, you know, oh, I would have never have guessed, but I guess, you know, these things we hide well. And yeah, I have some stats about depression in medical students. So it's about 15 to 25% in the general population, but in medical students it's about 27%. And then suicidal ideation in medical students is about 11.1%. And research suggests that mental health deteriorates during medical school years and continues to decline when trainees enter the workforce. Yeah, so we need to be looking after ourselves, and like they let me finish a week early, and they said it's the beginning of the year because I didn't want it to affect my progress. Obviously that was what I was most scared about, and they said no, it's fine, it's near the beginning of the year and you're not getting as much from placement as you think you are if you're not in the right mood. Like just because you're showing up doesn't mean that it's effective, if you get what I mean. And they arranged an urgent occupational health referral for me, so I was seen by Hopef like the next day or 2 days after. And they arranged a meeting as well for them just to talk to me and things. They just told me to come back to where I live so I can be with other people, so I can be with my flatmates instead of just like by myself. I don't know whether I'm saying this coherently. I hope I'm making sense. It's just obviously this is a bit of an uncomfortable thing to talk about, so I might be all over the place. Anyways, so I saw occupational health. That consultant, it was an occupational health consultant, and he just looks after medical students and nurses and doctors. Like that's his job. And he was so lovely and kind. He happened to be a Ghanaian consultant. And yeah, he was just asking me more about how I was doing and things like this. And then also I was seen by the uni psychiatrist who upped my citalopram from 10 milligrams to 20 because I was really scared about the side effects of citalopram. So I made my GP start me on a really like sub-therapeutic dose, and then go up slowly. And antidepressants have like low-key, high-key changed my life. But again, that's another topic altogether. But yeah, so occupational health put in parameters to see how well I was doing, whether I could continue on or not, and if I needed some reasonable adjustments. So one adjustment that they put in place is, so my next placement is A&E, what I'm on at the moment, and one thing they said is that for me to not do any night shifts because I get migraines. So if I were to go on a night shift, that would just set me off for like the next 2 days. I'll have like a 48-hour migraine, and that's obviously not going to help my mood. So you know, they put things like that in place, just so that I can actually get the most out of placement. So that was a really good adjustment, and they put some other things in, and he just like follows me up. I think my next appointment with him is next week or something like this. So my uni was really supportive, and I'm really thankful. There's lots of myths and stuff that medical students believe, that if you say something then it's like admitting a sign of weakness, or they're going to be worried about you, but that's all myths. And I'll be leaving the GMC's guideline about medical students and well-being in the description box below, that talks about it in more detail, how there's no discrimination and how our teachers, our lecturers' priorities should be our mental health, because it is such a big problem and they recognize that. And if your uni and or GP is not being supportive, then please DM me and I can try and give advice as to what other avenues you could maybe try and take, because we really need to just look out for one another. Some of you sent in some questions, so I'm just going to put that up now and answer those. This one was, do you do telephone calls, and if so, how have you found them? So yes, I did do my own telephone clinic. I really loved that. I personally feel like it's good not seeing everybody face to face. Like, it wastes less time for the patient. It's so much less hassle. Obviously it does have its drawbacks, but I'm personally pro telephone calls, and then only bringing people in if we need to examine them, or you know, if it's a bit more complex. But let me know down in the description, down in the comments, what you think, because I know people are like divided about this. Next one. Firstly, just wanted to say I love your content and I'm always lurking on it. Keep doing you. Thank you so much for sending that, Emma. Thank you. And how do you deal with it? What are your triggers? How does your support system react to the lows? Okay, there's a lot in this. How do I deal with it? God is one thing. I'm a Christian, so I really do pray, and I'm so thankful for Jesus for always having my back. There's this story called Footprints in the Sand that I'm not gonna go into. Should I go into it? Okay, so basically Jesus and a person is walking in the sand, and it's like through somebody's life, and then now the person dies and looks back at the footprints in the sand and says, Jesus, how comes always at my greatest moments in life, when everything was good, I see 2 sets of footprints, but at all of my lows I only see 1 set of footprints? Why did you desert me? And Jesus says, that's not when I had deserted you, that was when I was carrying you. And I truly believe that I don't know if that was cheesy or not, but I truly believe that Jesus does carry me through. Also, I do have a support system, so that includes my family, notably my sister, and my boyfriend. He was the one who told me to go to the GP this year, so I'm extremely thankful for him. And I have my long-term friends as well, who always check up on me, or I can just call them if I need to. So, and I have my flatmates. I'm really glad I let them know when I was starting to struggle, when I went on antidepressants. So just letting people around you, especially who you live with, know is really important, so they can just, like, you know, be checking up on you, and they sometimes know you a little bit more than you know yourself at times, and they can check you if they feel like you're slipping away, or not slipping away, but you know what I mean, hopefully. What are my triggers? My triggers are when I feel lonely. I have a problem with loneliness, but I think I'm trying to work through that. Headache, when I get migraines, that really makes my mood struggle. And also I've noticed some things. So basically this post, and I'll put it here or something, says like, know the signs of when you're starting to feel low. And one of the signs that I'm really like strict about is if my room is starting to get messy, then that's a sign that I'm kind of letting myself go and stuff. So I'm trying to keep my room clean and things. Was your GP placement what you expected? Yeah, I think it is what I expected. I knew that I was gonna like it. I know I like talking to patients. I know I like this like kind of like slow life of, you know, just sitting down and patients coming to you and talking on the phone. Again, it's just so convenient. So I really loved it. I love that long-term knowing the patient really well and stuff. One thing that was really interesting though was the coffee meetings, where basically we would discuss all the cases that had like social issues. So if there were children, there was like query neglect and just something not quite right about the patient, or some ethical issues, that's where we would discuss it as a team to see, like, what should we do. That was interesting and not what I was expecting. And also because I was with one of the GP partners, I could see what went into running a GP, and whoa, it is a lot that goes into running a GP. So I'm glad that I got to see that side of it. I got to be in the meetings and stuff to see what it takes to run a general practice. And let me just say, it takes a lot of patience and planning and everything, especially during a pandemic. Last question is, any tips for not falling behind on work when you're feeling depressed? Now, this question has layers to it. It has layers. So I'm gonna say the correct answer, then I'm gonna say what I used to do, then I'm gonna say what I now do. The correct answer is nothing is more important than your well-being. No grades, no assignment, no coursework, nothing. And you running yourself to the ground is not being studious, that is being short-sighted. What I used to do is sometimes I would be sad and I would be crying and I would be studying and the pages are blurry because I'm crying. Like, that's like self-torture, or I don't even know what that is, but that's really ridiculous, and I would never do that again. I just look back on that and I just think, how could I have done that to myself? But in terms of tips for not going behind on work when you're feeling depressed, we all have them times of like stress and feeling like low and things like this. One practical thing that I've always done since sixth form, and I mention it in my how to stay organized and increase productivity video, is I schedule my week as a 6-day week, and 1 day is a rest day. If you always have a rest day, then that means if one day you're feeling ill, be that period pains, or you're feeling depressed, you're just feeling down and out, then you can take a day out and it doesn't mess your schedule up. But if you work to a 7-day basis or 7-day routine, if you take 1 day off, then you're 1 day behind. So that works in terms of that you can take a day off, you can rejuvenate, is that the word? Recuperate, whatever, recharge, and then get back to what you need to do. Staying organized is the best way to avoid those feelings of intense stress and things. I have some friends that around exam season and things, they start to feel sick, vomiting, because it's just so stressful. And just try as much as you can to not leave things last minute. I know it's hard, but stay organized so that, like, future you deserves you being organized right now. Okay, so just little and often, and just really be in tune with your emotions and know when to step away from your books and know when you can get back to it as well. And I think that would be my top tips. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps someone. I will be leaving things in the description box below, and I'll leave my Instagram as well. My DMs are always open. And yeah, I'm feeling much better now. And I'm on A&E placement, which I shall be updating you on very soon, and I am loving that. So please like if you like this video, comment down below, and share, and make sure you subscribe so you can join the gang, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.